I'm telling everybody. I'm telling everybody. I'm telling everybody about the one I love. Yeah, the things on this whole earth are not of any worth. It's good.
Hey guys, welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We're your hosts, Leah and Michelle. Today is the 18th of October, 2019. Leah's ready and eager to get you the news. We have a great show to bring you today. Oh my gosh. Microphone's still there.
Hey
Thanks,
guys,
Bailey.
stay with us.
Thanks,
Bailey is here with us. There's a lot of wires here. Woo, Bailey. Oh, now she's gonna lay on her dog bed. Good dog. Good dog.
That's nice. That's a good looking for you. Somebody should take a screenshot of your face like that. That was
Okay.
love
La
it.
la 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 la. Okay, we're gonna go to Mexico. If you didn't know, Mexico is run by a bunch of crazy drug cartels. Then I'm sorry that your head's been under a rock. But here's the thing: El Chapo has been arrested, is extradited to United States in 2017, but he has sons. Now, at a routine traffic stop, they arrested or something like this one of his sons. And then the cartel come out to get their buddy out. And the Mexican military says we can't stand up to the cartel, and they released the man. So
They literally let El Chapo's son go because the cartel came and said, let him go. And they said, okay, here's his son.
okay, so
You may have him now.
police arrested the son of one of Mexico's biggest drug lords, but then released him after gunmen laid siege to a house where he was being held. His father, El Chapo, has been locked up since 2016. Has this made violence in Mexico worse? El Chapo is behind bars. Wait, I'm going to read this. I know, people are going to... So why is Mexico's murder rate so rising? Joaquin El Chapo Guzman escaped twice from Mexican prisons. In 2015, he slipped out along a mile-long tunnel under his cell. He was recaptured and extradited to America in 2017. He now faces life in prison. He's unlikely to get out a third time. A Brooklyn court has found El Chapo guilty of running the Sinaloa drug gang. The Sinaloa is regarded as one of Mexico's most violent and powerful organized crime groups. Build the vault. But the successful manhunt has not stopped. The grim rise in Mexico's murder rate, and it may make things worse, by the way, by El Chapo kept things in order. There were 33,341 murders recorded in Mexico, in one of the hardest places to obtain a gun in the world. Mexico has like one gun shop in like all of Mexico.
Well, they don't need them, actually, because they just sell them on the open
Yeah.
market.
So, obviously, you have the turf wars and the other gangsters coming to the forefront. So here we have a video of where'd they get those guns? They didn't get these at a gun store. These are guys going to go get
El Chapo's son,
yeah.
Joaquin. Are there more guys than just two guys in a truck?
Oh wait, I have more.
I mean, come on.
Hang on. Mexico's security forces flee after cartel gunmen launch a full-scale war to release El Chapo's son at the drug lord's
Bastion.
Yeah, Bastion. In Culacan. In order to protect lives, Mexican authorities were forced to release the notorious drug lord Joaquin El Chapo Guzman's son after heavily armed cartel gunmen launched an assault against security forces holding their alleged boss. It was Video Guzman was briefly arrested after federal police
That's a name.
Ovidio, came under fire from a house where he was holed up with 3 others on Thursday afternoon. Once the cartel learned the drug lord's son had been apprehended, groups of armed criminals began attacking police all over the city with heavy firepower, blocking roads and setting vehicles on fire. So here we have multiple vehicles on fire. More cartel reinforcements heading to Culiacán, including another up-armored vehicle armed with an M250 Cal machine gun. Many of these technicals appear to have armored windshields as well.
Wow. Here they go.
That's not something you see every day.
Maybe it is if you live in Mexico.
Yeah, the gunmen surrounded the house where Guzman had been nabbed with a force greater than that of the patrol. To all those people who love to ask me about growing up in Culiacán, who binge watch all those narco shows and romanticize the capos, this is the reality of it, what real people in the real world endure.
Wow. They're like literally running for their lives. I would not be there with a camera. I would be in my basement. Because like stray bullets and stuff. Yeah.
¡Córrele, córrele!
That's gunfire. So I don't know how much more of that shooting went off, but like I kind of feel like they didn't put up any kind of fight. Like literally, like, okay, you're shooting at us. We're going to give you
The attacks
walking.
were so vicious that authorities opted to suspend our actions lest the city degenerate further into a war zone. Cartel gunmen cruising through Culiacán, and that was what you saw. They were just cruising. That was what you saw there. Another video from Culiacán, this time a cartel gunman using a high-caliber sniper rifle against Mexican police armed forces. I guess that's a guy right there.
Yeah. Whoa. Whatever he's got's powerful.
Yeah, they don't need to go to gun shows. However, the original raid on Guzman's hideout was anything but a routine patrol. Multiple reports alleged. Several videos show that police initially arrived at the cartel's compound in the city of Culiacán in full force, armed officers on foot, even trucks and jeeps with mounted weapons. I don't know what we're going to see here, honestly. Oh, so here's the initial police going after him. So they showed up pretty armed as well, and that's, you know, and the Mexican police and army and whatever, and they're outgunned. Yeah.
They gave them up, though. I mean,
Look at how
that.
armored
They
armored
gave them
they
up.
are.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
That is insane. Insanity. Yet masked gunmen working for the kingpin apparently overpowered them, trading heavy gunfire that left blazing vehicles strewn across the street and forced locals to take shelter in schools and supermarkets as shops closed to avoid the violence. Here's, unfortunately, dead people in the middle of the street. Authorities of El Chapo's home state of Sinaloa had no other choice but to release Guzman in order to protect lives. Mexican soldiers being overthrown by Sinaloa cartel members at a toll booth in Culiacán during today's shootout. Soldiers had to shake hands with them. Who's really in charge of Mexico?
Ese güey ya tiene un casco de los soldados. ¿Ya viste? No, ese güey llegó así en la camioneta, güey. ¿Así? Sí, en la gris, que se dio vuelta. ¿Qué pasó, carnal?
So they're literally going up to shake hands with the military, who they just fought. What is this place? What is this place you call Mexico? with guys on one side with guns, and the guys, the good guys, so supposedly the police on the other side with guns. Look at, I mean, these guys, it's, and people don't want a law. People don't want law. Their own government can't arrest one dude and hands him over and then shakes hands. When the government, like, seriously, you guys, you have to build the walls.
Hang on.
Yeah, but
You've heard for years about how corrupt the Mexican police is.
But we haven't had, I've never seen anything like this on tape. I've never seen the Mexican army or whatever shaking hands with, well, it looks like army.
Cartel.
Shaking hands with the cartel saying, yeah, you beat us this time. Way to go.
It's like at the end of a football
Yeah,
game.
you got us this time.
We were just like killing each
Look
other.
at them shaking their hats. You know, we're really just brothers. We're really just friends. You know, we won this time. Thank you. We won this time. I can't watch this anymore. It's just absolutely insanity. Build the wall, baby. You got to build the wall because Mexico's not keeping these guys out.
Maia says, Mexico is crazy. I have friends that grew up there. The stories they tell, oh my goodness.
However, several other cartel-linked individuals were detained and wounded. Secretary of Security of Sinaloa, Cristobal, told El Financiero, adding that local authorities worked with the National Guard, the Army, and the Navy in the operation. Well, they messed that one up. Joaquin El Chapo Guzman was sentenced to life in prison in the U.S. in February for trafficking drugs. Right. So, all right. I think that just Mexico is a... This should not be a thing. It's a thing, but it should not be a thing. Oh, here was one more video where they took their own video of their own guns in the...
Lancer 7377 says, build a wall, build a moat, make the United States a flying island. I'm cool with one or all. Ripaza says, blimey, a nation with more violence on the streets than London, England.
But the people can't own guns. I said, give every Mexican citizen their own weapon, and so they can defend themselves against the cartel. Right?
That's why the Mexican citizens can't have guns, because the cartel's in bed with the government, telling the people they can't have guns.
Oh my God.
We've historically called that circus music. I don't think it's racist, but when we lived in Oklahoma, we would hear it all the time. Like, it just kind of sounds like a circus.
Yeah.
And that's their music of choice.
Yeah. Yeah, it is their music of choice.
Curious Man says we should send in a couple of SEAL teams, give it a few weeks, and Mexico would be as safe as Gods of the Laker. Yeah, I don't think you might need a few more than a couple SEAL teams, but that's the whole point. We aren't here to police the whole world.
Right.
We're not even here to police a country at our border. We're just here to stop MS-13 and drugs and sex trafficking from coming over our border illegally.
Right. I guess so.
Or illegally.
The crackdown on illegal immigration is actually hurting oil drillers. Get this. U.S. crude oil production growth may have slowed down this year, but the largest oil-producing counties in the Permian Basin continue to feel a shortage of labor. The predicament for small oil services business owners in New Mexico is aggravated by the surge in worksite audits, investigation, and arrests as part of the U.S. President Donald Trump's tougher stance on illegal immigration. A growing number of owners of oil-related businesses in the second biggest oil-producing county in the United States, Lee County in New Mexico, now avoid hiring undocumented immigrants for oil field work, fearing the clampdown on immigration will affect their business. There are still oil field service business owners who continue to hire an illegal labor force. And those who want to play by the rules find themselves between a rock and a hard place. On the one hand, President Trump's pro-oil policies clash with impact from the crackdown on immigration, which makes business owners idle during drilling rigs and equipment not being, because they have drilled out all the shale wells in Lee County, but because they can't find legal immigrant workers to do some of the dangerous, difficult jobs on the oil field that some Americans shun. Oil field business owners say the lack of a system to get illegal oil workers documented or given working visas is impeding the oil industry, blah, blah, blah. And we hear this over and over and over again. If there's a job that pays well enough, anybody is going to do it.
Right.
And the fact that they are always saying, and this is the same line that I hear over and over again, white people or Americans don't want to do the jobs. Okay, guess what? Americans will do anything. Guess what? We have people that pick up our trash. That's a pretty gross job. Like, there's a lot of things. I watched Dirty Jobs
With Mike Rowe.
All these people who
And
have
their
their own
jobs
small
like,
businesses.
man, praise God, I don't have that job. But it's just a regular person that has the job. They are doing that job.
A legal American citizen. Okay?
And even here we're talking about these dirty jobs or anything like that. Just jobs in general. You know, whether it's your lawn service or tree work or whatever you can name that the illegals have come and taken over, the majority of it used to be Americans doing that job.
Yeah, legal citizens.
Legal citizens.
And here's the thing. Remember when they started oil drilling? It was Americans who started oil drilling. Now, I'm not for the fossil fuel use and everything like that in the oil drilling, but it was men who wanted to make money, and they did crazy things. Some of them lost their lives.
Do you guys remember that John Wayne movie where he's that oil man out there and like it's like the dirtiest job ever and the whole thing blows and it's dangerous, you can lose your life? What was the name of that movie?
Yeah.
Guys, men and women will do anything. That's how the West was settled. I mean, come on. You're not even giving... What has happened is people have turned into mamsy-pamsies.
Lazy people.
Lazy people.
Right. And here's the thing.
They raised them that way in the indoctrination camps called public schools.
If it's the line that says too dangerous that Americans shun, that is the most elitist, racist statement. I'm not a racist. I'm not an elitist. If Americans don't want to do it, it shouldn't be done.
Have you seen those tree climbers or those linemen and like ridiculous? I mean, the steel workers. I mean, come on. These are dangerous jobs.
Right.
People do them all the time.
Right. Exactly. So let's see. Where do we want to go to now? I guess I'm going to go...
Britt Boz says, the old adage of good fences make for good neighbors rings true between Mexico and the USA.
Speaking, I think you mentioned sex trafficking. So this is a story that I didn't really want to talk about, but I am going to talk about it. I guess I could do it on Sunday, but this week culminated a huge
pedophile
worldwide effort of countries all over the world where police
That's what worldwide
have
means.
arrested over 300 suspected pedophiles across 38 countries, including Britain, the U.S., Germany, after dark web child abuse site hosting 250,000 sickening videos is shut down and South Korean ringleader is charged.
Wow.
It was a website called Welcome to Video, where kids sold to pedophiles around the world through the dark web. With more than 1 million clips downloaded, the site was uncovered by Britain's National Crime Agency during its investigation into one of the UK's most prolific pedophiles, Matthew Folder, who is serving 25 years in prison for 138 offenses linked to sexual abuse of children.
This is the point where I say I don't think that 25 years in prison is enough. But you know what I would be happy with is 25 years in prison and physical castration. Not just chemical castration, just boom, just cut it off. Done.
Death.
Leah says death.
138 offenses. Seriously, you don't get out.
137.
137. You should not get out of prison.
And that's what they've charged with. I'm sure there's obviously more.
So I guess the South Korean suspect, Jong Woo Sun, was 23. He was running this website. 337 suspects arrested globally, 18 investigations in the UK, and 7 British men already convicted. American authorities have raided the homes of 92 people and today released the names of 34. I don't even want you to see the pictures. This is the website shut down. Let's see.
What we're here to discuss today, the sexual exploitation of children, is one of the worst forms.
I'm gonna start that over. Doom, 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 doom. So it's good news, but it's sad news, and I don't like to cover it. But it is good news that they've been caught.
Sure.
Here to discuss today, the sexual exploitation of children is one of the worst forms of evil imaginable. Indeed, these crimes are so heinous they are difficult even to speak about. But our government has no higher priority than the safety of our children. For that reason, I am pleased to announce the takedown of one of the world's largest child sexual exploitation marketplaces on the darknet, Welcome to Video, the seizure of its enormous cache of child pornography, and the unsealing of the U.S. indictment against its administrator, Jong Woo Sun. Welcome to Video was a Tor network-based child pornography site that accepted payment in Bitcoin. This was one of the first times that law enforcement saw the use of cryptocurrency in trafficking child pornography. According to the indictment we are unsealing today, the site hosted more than 250,000 videos, and users downloaded more than 1 million files. The site's child exploitation material totaled about 8 terabytes, much of which depicted prepubescent children, toddlers, and infants engaged in sexually explicit conduct. The site's upload page expressly stated, "Do not upload adult porn." As a parent, this horrifies me. And
I would just like to give a shout out. My initial thought was, how did they do it? How did they do it? How do they do it without losing their own minds?
You mean the investigators.
In the investigators. How, yeah. And that's where my immediate thought goes, because it's so awful and it's so evil that most people will just, I don't want to know. I don't want to go there. I don't want to know.
Okay, so it's hard to explain this, but I think most of you probably would get it, even with listening to it. So when we listen to a description of anybody telling us anything, our brain goes straight to descriptive, and we're trying to envisional it, and let me get in it, let me understand it. When I listen to this, I literally shut off that part of my brain because I can't. I can listen to the words and I can understand it's bad, but I do not allow my brain to do visuals. I do not allow my brain to, it's not even like an effort. I just shut down.
So what you have to do is you have to dissociate. It's like doctors who have to take bone saws and open people up. Yeah. It's a form of dissociation, and abused people will do this as well. But doctors and professionals
it's a way to protect the other parts of your mind.
When you're dealing with something that is so grotesque, or something that is like, you've got to deal with something so horrible. What she said was, it says don't upload adult porn over the age of 15.
That's unbelievable to me.
And this is one of the darkest sites, but it is now been brought down. Now, of course, people will flood to another one. But my question is, how do they think that they're not going to be tracked? I mean, it's the internet, right? If we are to disrupt these criminals, we can't just leave it to the police to track them down and pick up the pieces after abuse has taken place. We need the platforms where children are being groomed and abused to be regulated, so they are safer, and tech needs to change to protect the child.
Well, this was a website that was down. You had to download it.
Yeah.
And so the good news is they are going to be able to track these people down. I mean, I have like a handful of people that I know personally, whether personally or through knowing somebody, who have been in the child porn addiction,
right,
and they were tracked down and prosecuted.
Right. So
it's not that difficult. So these people, it is good news. Even though they're not talking about the people, they're going to be able to track down who downloaded this and get a lot of them.
Yeah, and so my prayer now, I thought about the rescuers, and then there was a girl who committed suicide the other day who was sex trafficked at 13 to 15.
Wow.
And she kept trying to go back to her abuser, and she committed suicide. And so the network there has got to be, who's going to deal with these kids? Who's going to help them? Who's going to rehabilitate them?
Yeah.
The mind-body correlation there with the sex trafficking is huge. And you really have to be immersed in Jesus, in love, in forgiveness, in healing. And so, Lord, I just lift up these children who are caught up in these horrible things. I pray that you expose the darkness. I pray that you heal them. I pray that you break the curse that's on their mind. And I pray that you make it so that it's like it's never happened.
Amen.
And you bring healing to the families, and healing to the investigators as well.
Yes.
In Jesus' name I pray, because they need life and they need love.
Amen.
And so I just kind of want to jump here to something funny, because if you dwell on that for too long, it will bring you down. Donald Trump met with, we talked about this, the Democrats up over Syria, and he tweeted this out earlier this week. Do you think they like me?
Chuck Schumer's face right here, it just kills me. I mean, these people are such establishment. I don't think, I was thinking about term limits the other day. I don't really care about term limits. If you're good, stay in, whatever. Yeah. But these people, they're just old and decrepit, and they're has-beens, and it's like, we're done with you. Even like, bring in some AOC, fine. whatever. At least
least
she's
we can
new and
understand.
young, and we can hear what she's saying. These people are just like
There's a video going
has-beens.
around today with Nancy Pelosi where she just can't understand what she's saying. And I was like,
sounds
she's
drunk all
called
the
T-Sword,
time.
I'm at the T-Sword.
Yeah.
You just can't understand what she's speaking, and sister says.
Mm-hmm. All right, you guys, we love you. God loves you. God bless. Remember, it's not just a conspiracy theory if it's actually the truth. All right. God bless, guys.
I was cold.